Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the third episode of Understanding Microsoft Agents series. I am Sean Fiene, and today we're going to talk about governance and cost controls. So here's a breakdown of the agenda. First, we'll start with the introduction of all our speakers and why are we talking about agents. Then we'll pass the series off to Zohar Raz, who will talk about balancing governance and innovation, and then also lead us into the security and governance controls and management controls. And then we'll go over to Amia and Samer to talk about measurement and reporting. And then we'll go back to Zohar for some more discussions about measurement and reporting. Lastly, we'll go into Q&A, and then a big thank you for everybody for attending. So who are our speakers? Well, I am Sean Fiene, Senior Product Marketing Manager on the Business Applications and Agent side. And we're also joined by Zohar Raz, Principal GPM for Admin Scale, Samer Baroudi, Senior Product Marketing Manager on the Copilot Control System team, and Amia Patra, Principal Product Manager for the Big Agent Cloud team. All right, let's talk about AI agents. It's a concept that's rapidly transforming how we work. An AI agent is a program that uses artificial intelligence to automate and execute business processes. It can work alongside a person, support a team, or even operate on behalf of an entire organization. Think of it as a digital teammate that can handle tasks, make decisions, and drive outcomes. Agents exist on a spectrum of complexity. On one end, you've got simple retrieval-based agents, and these are designed to fetch information like answering questions or surfacing documents. In the middle, there are task-performing agents. These can complete workflows, send emails, update records, or generate reports. And then at the far end, we have fully autonomous agents. These agents can plan, reason, and act independently across systems, often coordinating multiple steps without human intervention. As agents become more capable, they also become more powerful, which means that your governance and security requirements must evolve accordingly. To get a better understanding of the security, governance, and management controls available for agents built with Microsoft Copilot Studio, I'll hand the presentation off to Zohar Raz.
Let me take control. Thank you, Sean. I'm not seeing the slides move yet. All right. Now it moves fast. All right. So hi all. I am Zohar, and I lead the Power Platform Governance team, and we're going to spend the next 30 minutes with me trying to convince you that not only that Copilot Studio and building agents in your organization is awesome, that it's also enterprise ready, and you've got the governance controls today from an IT and CISO perspective to allow your developers and information workers, we call them makers, to start experimenting with Copilot Studio and building agents either for their personal productivity or for sharing it with their teams or departments, or even promoting them to the tenant store and making them available company-wide. Sean has touched on these three types of agents, and I'm going to walk you through the challenges that we face as you try to empower makers. The goal we see as I talk to different companies and CISOs and CIOs is how do you balance correctly from an IT perspective the productivity in the company, so makers building agents, and then security and compliance and governance from an IT and CISO perspective. Each have their own needs. And when we talk about agents, the Microsoft specific agents that can be built in an enterprise, we are looking at the different factories of building agents, starting from SharePoint and Agent Builder that shows up in Copilot or the Copilot chat. And then that's for information workers building simple agents, all the way to the right, where you look at Azure Foundry and allowing pro developers to build advanced agents using advanced capabilities, different models, different entry points and solutions. And then in the middle sits the Copilot Studio that actually stretches from all the way to the left, allowing individual users to build their own agents, all the way to pro developers building advanced agents. And we see that in different enterprises happening day in, day out. So if you think about your own company and this, what we call the maturity model, you could then try to identify yourself and where you at in the journey of adopting these Copilot Studio or agent creation technologies that Microsoft offers. And we see companies in the initial stage testing the water, where you've got pro teams either inside IT or in the business units building their first agent in the company, trying to build a solution for HR or for help desk. And then there's companies that have matured beyond that with clear guidance and guardrails all the way to the right, where companies are in the efficient stage, where they've got a wiki page telling every employee how to build agents, what's allowed, what's not allowed. They've got clear data policies on capabilities. They've got routing and capabilities that we'll show in the next few slides, and well-established what we call the green zone. And then they've got not only these special, we call them 10 to 10,000, but the unique company-wide agents that pro developers build for 10,000 people in the enterprise. They also start seeing these 10 for 10, sorry, the 10,000 for 10, where you've got 10,000 makers in the company building agents for themselves or for teams, small teams of 10 people. So each of you should recognize where you're at in the journey and then think about what are the things that help you move from the left to the right. So with that, and taking an example of our own Microsoft IT, this is a slide that our Microsoft IT has presented and built. These are the capabilities and tasks and what the center of excellence or center of enablement that Microsoft IT is focused on, starting with making sure that from a data source perspective, data hygiene, things are properly labeled and access is defined on what users should access what files. So when there's confidential information, IT is focused on making sure that not only users can't access those data sources or files, but also now that in the agentic world, that agents won't have access to those resources on the user's behalf. And then MSIT is focused on empowering employees to start getting started building agents with guidance and instructions on how to get started. They're also focused on empowering individual pro development teams, or we call them fusion teams, where they need special needs or exclusions, where the green zone or the basic capabilities that MSIT gives employees for agents is not enough. For example, there's dedicated teams in Microsoft building external facing anonymous agents, and those require an exception. So MSIT is focused on setting them up with a dev and then a test and a prod environment so they could actually use Copilot Studio to build those anonymous agents. There's other different teams that need different levels of needs that the platform provides, but the guidance and the controls that IT put in place for individual workers to build agent doesn't suffice. So for all of those scenarios, IT is involved in these engagements with fusion teams, enabling them to build sophisticated agents. And all of that is to accelerate the adoption of agents inside the company. And MSIT specifically is a team of about 5 to 10 people that are today managing not just apps and flows, but also the rise of agents in the companies, where inside MSIT, we're seeing about 100,000 different agents built either by professional development teams or by information workers that are just building agents for themselves or for their teams. So we're going to talk about this control system model on how to govern agents and how to govern Copilot inside an enterprise. And we'll start with these 3 pillars, security and governance, and then management and control. And last, we're going to talk about the trust and verify and how you do measurement and reporting to make sure that in your deployment things are happening, or if you need to go back to the guardrails and optimize things. So starting with the security and governance, we've been hard at work over the last 6 years to make the Power Platform the most secure platform. So in this talk, I'm trying to convince you that, if you want to allow makers or individual workers to build agents, the best place to get started is the Power Platform, just because it has security built in and secure by default. There's a rich set of capabilities that I'm not going to drain on this slide, that talks about the controls that IT has in terms of custom managed keys and lockbox, things like network isolation. So these are capabilities from a security perspective that allows IT to secure the most sophisticated agents that run tenant-wide. If you've got an HR agent that captures feedback from your users or personal things, you can definitely make it secure on the Power Platform, ensuring that only the right people have access to the transcripts, only everything gets audited, it never gets attacked. All these capabilities are in play just because the Copilot Studio agents are running on top of the Power Platform that has been built for apps and flows and been hardened and optimized over the last few years. But beyond apps and flows, we've also heavily invested over the last 2 years in making it the best place to build agents. And the example I want to use is what we call cross-prompt injection attacks, where you might see in the industry or public articles where there's multiple security companies that are working on hardening and kind of like an antivirus for agents, ensuring that the agents that are built in enterprise are well protected. And one of the things that the articles say is how bad actors are using the new large language model to attack agents that are being used by employees. So there's ways to attack it by feeding it with the wrong or documents that have been reformed to take control of the agents. There's other ways to send emails. All these things are what we call attacks and need to be protected from the system to make sure that the agent always ends up doing what the owner of the agent has intended it to do. So today we see attacks on knowledge, we see attacks on actions or tools, and we definitely see attacks where the agent is trying to run anonymously and do a set of things behind the scenes. And the protections that we've built, which is also named Prompt Shield, is an enhanced protection to take care of, think of it like an antivirus built into the Copilot Studio that ensures that these attacks are protected. And one of the ways for you as an admin to see those is many of these events that are tracked, they're trapped and logged into the Purview audit logs. So if you go to Purview, you can actually start scanning for the protection and see the events where an attack was detected and prevented from happening. And then from your perspective, if you see a lot of attacks on a specific agents, there's a good way to think about what else are the security controls that you want to add and protect that agent that is being attacked. Another example of investments that we're doing in security is Microsoft information protection labels that are now flowing through the agents, showing the user and the maker what level of information confidentiality is being used in the agent, or the documents or the knowledge that it's being sourced by. So there's a larger list of security investments that we're doing specifically for allowing you to run agents on top of the Power Platform. The next thing I want to talk about is governance. So I'm switching gears from the first pillar to the second pillar that talks about how we are empowering administrators with more visibility to the agents that are being built and giving you more control to make sure that you could place the set of guardrails that would allow you to get started in your organization and not just empower these pro makers or fusion teams to build these agents in isolation, but also allow you to open up the gate for every employee in your company. And in fact, the next pillar that I'm going to talk to at the end of it, you should really get curious about how do you start using these tools to empower every employee in your company to start using Copilot Studio. So with that, as I dive in, the first set of slides is actually a Gartner model that was in the Gartner conference about 3 months ago that talks about zone governance. And the concept really says, if IT tries to apply the same security and governance rigor on every agent that an employee builds, the same ones that you apply to the HR agent or the help desk agent, then it would require an army of IT. So what I would try to kind of convince you is that there is a concept of a green zone where agents that are being built are lower in risk, either because they're knowledge only and they don't take any actions that you're concerned about, those actions that are not reversible, or that the knowledge is not being broadly shared or overshared with people. And that's what we consider or call the safe zone, or the zone that you should allow people to build whatever they can do themselves. The best example is personal agents. If I could access a SharePoint site or an Outlook, I might as well build some automation to an agent that sends everybody a message when I'm on vacation that the meetings are canceled, just because I don't want to go to the calendar and do it one by one. I could use an agent to do things like that, or that scans my emails and moves things to different folders depending on the messaging inside those emails. So there's a set of agents that a person can build and then even share that with his team if it's a productive agent, that those are all considered in the green zone. And then all the way to the red zone, which is those company-wide agents that need a lot more scrutiny and a lot more IT involvement. So as you think about this zone model, calling out a few zones, the green examples on the left is retrieval-only agents like Sean touched on. These are agents that only touch data, and the data is already protected with access control and permissions in the source. So think SharePoint sites. People interacting with the agent will only get answers if they have access to those files. Those agents could be built either in the Microsoft 365 Agent Builder or in the Copilot Studio Agent Builder. And in both cases, IT should actually relax the rigor around those agents, just because it makes a lot of people more productive. You don't need to ask me the questions anymore. Just go talk to my agent that is sourced with all the informations and files that I've created. Think IT help desk. And then the middle zone, the other green zone that I would call out, is agents, personal agents that are built inside Copilot Studio that can also take actions and do additional tasks. In fact, they could even be autonomous, but they're personal only. So a lot of the risk goes away if they're only a me agent. They don't come across as we agent. They don't get shared. And then last is the red zone, which is an example of fusion teams that I touched on that are building sophisticated agents and need a dev, test, and prod environment. So I'm going to show a set of capabilities that allow you to specifically set up and bootstrap what we call the personal agent zone, or the green zone 1.2. And with that, let me run you through a set of capabilities that is where you get started. So the next set of slides is really helping you to get started. First, I want to call out the Power Platform Admin Center. You could reach it by going to aka.ms/ppac, so PPAC. This is the new admin center, and soon will become, so this month it will become the only admin center. We're retiring and sunsetting the purple old admin center. This admin center is designed based on jobs to be done, helping you to manage your agents, apps, and flows, secure, deploy. So we think of this as the 4 pillars of managed environments, starting with managed governance, more visibility, more control with less effort. Then security pillar, and it has a security entry point. The DevOps part with monitor and deploy. And then last is there's capabilities around managed availability that allows you to ensure that the critical assets can actually run with a 4 nines, 24/7, always available. So there's a set of capabilities that are specifically around availability. So this is the new admin center. In the new admin center, we now have a new dedicated Copilot Hub landing page. So the Copilot Hub is the place, the single pane of glass where we're doing everything agent and bringing you the controls and visibility. And I'm switching gears to talk about, okay, so how do you use these things to get to bootstrap your Green Zone 1.2, the personal dev environment? So one of the first things to call out is what we call environment routing. It's a capability in the unique to the Power Platform that allows you as an IT to set up a equivalent of a OneDrive, where every employee that actually accesses, like in the video that you see, the Copilot Studio for the first time, ends up in a automatically provisioned environment. And then there's a welcome message like you're seeing on the screen, where the welcome message is a personalized message that IT can recognize and welcome every maker that lands on the studio. And then once you land in the studio and are provisioned with a personal dev environment, IT gets to control what are the capabilities. Think of it as you're getting a OneDrive with a Lego box of capabilities. IT gets to control exactly what are those capabilities that will be in that environment. And for that, I'm going to switch to examples of a set of controls that IT can start leveraging in order to define what are the capabilities in the personal dev environment. So the journey starts with environments and environment groups. Environments are these personal dev environments or other environments that you create from an IT perspective. But one of the nice things about the PAP platform is that it now has this concept of environment groups, where you can actually establish a group of environments. In this case, we will take the example of all the personal dev environments live in one environment groups. And then you could go to the rules tab. And in the rule tab, you could set up things like in the example that you're seeing in the video, which is management of connectors. So Power Platform, other thing that is pretty magical is the connectors concept, where IT can define if the agent that makers build can use a specific data source like Salesforce or ServiceNow or SQL. And then not only that, you could define what are the data sources that people will use in their personal dev environment. You could actually even go deeper and say, what actions they could use. So you could say, you could use Outlook, but I'm not going to allow you to send email, only to get and read emails. So this is just one example. You could go to each one of the connectors and go through the list of all the different actions and have a lot of control on what those personal dev environments Lego box will include. But not only the connectors, and there's 20 plus rules today that you could use, there's also a larger set of controls that we built specifically for agent creation. So things like limiting sharing, where you can actually say in a personal dev environment, I'm not going to allow co-authoring. I'm not going to allow people to share with more than one person or 3 people in the personal dev environment. So you could allow some collaboration, but not a lot of collaboration without IT involvement. You could also start blocking people from adding other users to their environment. So if people are trying to add directly through the Power Platform Admin Center, other peers to their environment, that could be blocked. There's things that you could block around authentication. So you could prevent people from building any anonymous agents and say anonymous requires an exception. You have to go through this form and tell MSIT about it, and then we'll create you a dedicated environment for anonymous agents, and you put it on a different environment. There's other examples like forcing the makers to use the end user credentials and not use their maker credentials. So there's more and more controls that are dedicated, and all of these you'll be able to find in the Copilot Studio, what we call the Copilot Hub inside the Power Platform Admin Center. So we've centralized all these controls and we brought them to a one single pane of glass where you could discover what's new and you could actually do those controls there. The next thing I want to talk about is more visibility. So now that you've opened up and you want to see who is building what, who is actually claiming those personal dev environments and starting to build agents, we have created a new agent inventory page under Managed. So if you go to the Copilot page under the Managed tab in Power Platform Admin Center, you would see now a full list of all the Copilot Studio agents that are being built in your organization, who owns them, what environments they're at. And then you can actually go and into the Maker portal directly from that list of inventory. And we are extending this new experience to be an administrative experience where you could actually, from there, you'd be able to block, contact the owner, you could actually delete things. So this will become a tool that you could do under Manage, where you see the assets that are being built, and then you see and take action directly there inside the inventory itself. The next thing to call out is there's also a pretty robust centralized inventory in the Microsoft Admin Center, the Mac. So if you go to the admin.microsoft.com, under the Copilot tab in the left, you would see an inventory of all the agents that have been published to Microsoft 365. So what's unique about this list, it's a subset of the Power Platform or the Copilot Studio agents. It includes the ones that were built in Copilot Studio but published into Teams or BizChat, Copilot Studio. And then in that list, you would also see agents coming from other data sources like Azure Foundry or soon agents from Agent Builder, SharePoint. In fact, this would become the list of all the agents that an employee could go to the Copilot UX and see agents in the left nav and use those agents. So this is the place to go to see the finished goods, and Power Platform Admin Center is the place to go to see what is being built. And with that, I would like to take the opportunity and transition to Samer and Amia to talk a little bit about cost management. So we're transitioning from everything I said around risk management to how do you manage costs around agents that are built in your enterprise. Samer, take it away.
Fantastic. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Zohar. Thanks for the transition there. Great to be with you all. My name is Samer Baroudi. I work in product marketing for the Copilot Control System team. As Zohar mentioned, the Copilot Control System is Microsoft's commitment to empowering IT organizations to drive AI transformation in their organizations and the tools that deliver on that commitment. So for this session, I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about agent cost controls alongside Amia. So with that, let's go ahead. Let me take control and get going. I've requested control. And next slide. Hey, Sean, can I trouble you to actually advance the slide for me if I stop control, please? Thank you, Sean. Okay, so to start, we want to talk a bit about the billing model. So you have a number of options when it comes to the costs associated with agent consumption in your organizations. And our intent here is to give you the right level of flexibility depending on your maturity and level of adoption in your organization. Now, these billing models comprise of a few different things. One, pay as you go. We often call it pay-G. Secondly, prepaid packs or Copilot credit capacity or capacity packs. And then thirdly, of course, is the full M365 user license, which offers largely unlimited access to agent consumption. I say largely because we don't want to make any blanket statements, but the point is to say here is that you have multiple options and flexibility around your pay-as-you-go and prepaid capacity and user license models for billing in agents in M365. So each model suits different stages of adoption, like I mentioned, pay-go, prepaid, and user licenses. When we think about your adoption strategy, you have we think about it as three stages. One, your exploration stage. This is where you're sort of getting your feet wet, learning about the value and the impact that agents can have on your organization. And here you can set up sort of a combination of pay-as-you-go and prepaid for pilot use. You can use a mix there. Pay-as-you-go for less predictable spend, prepaid for less unpredictable spend, prepaid for more unpredictable spend in that scenario. Next, once you start to scale, you understand your monthly usage patterns and have established sort of the business benefit of agents in your organization. You can start to adjust your billing mix. And then thirdly, you want to optimize with licenses for known users or roles, giving you sort of the all you can eat consumption, if you want, for agents and super users of agents in your organization. So moving on. Now, when we think about tracking costs to departments and forecasting usage, departmental billing is a particularly helpful way for large and geographically distributed organizations with complex operational cost management. And this helps break down agent usage by scaling usage to departments, whether it's sales, marketing, customer service, or engineering, scaling usage by region, and giving you better sort of impact analysis, agent impact to cost based on the above segmentations. So by allocating cost to departments, regions, setting up prepaid capacity and then configuring alerts, you get full visibility and accountability across the business. You can learn more and find details on how to accomplish this in our agent cost management paper and ebook. So next I want to talk a bit on billing policies. So when we shift gears and think about billing policies in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, the purpose here is to say that we are offering capabilities to drive granular billing aligned to usage by group. So for your users in your organization who don't have the M365 Copilot license, but you want to enable them with agents and agent usage in the organization, this is where the value of billing policies really shines. What you can do is you'll set up a billing policy scoped to defined users and groups and an associated Azure subscription, enabling departmental billing and cross charges, supporting agent management decisions with group level usage and cost insight. So we set up a billing policy for, let's say, the sales department. We'll connect that sales department billing policy to the Copilot chat pay-as-you-go service, and all those users within that group, within that billing policy, are off to the races. They can now start using agents in Copilot chat on a pay-as-you-go basis. Right. So now let's take a look at analytics for consumption metrics on a pay-as-you-go basis. We've introduced the message consumption report in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and you'll probably soon be aware that we're renaming this report and the fundamental currency of consumption to Copilot credits. There's no change in the underlying metering or the costs. It's just a change in terms to reflect more AI and agentic capabilities beyond what we formally call messages. But essentially, they're synonymous. And the message consumption report in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center applies to metered experiences in Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, giving you near real-time visibility into the consumption of agents in your organization. It offers alerting for high consumption users with the ability to export those users to a CSV. This is particularly useful when you start to identify scenarios where you have high consumption users where it becomes more resource efficient or cost efficient to assign them a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. The report also offers user level, agent level, and user agent pair level consumption, as well as on general availability of the report, the message consumption at the billing policy level. So great level of segmentation there to give you kind of deep insight and visibility into your message consumption at those various levels. Like I mentioned, when you look at the message consumption details, you have visibility into usage or message consumption or Copilot credit consumption by agent, by user agent pair, and now rolling out is going to be the consumption at the billing policy level. So great drill downs to give you that kind of transparency and visibility you need. We're also introducing into preview the agents usage report in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center to help you inform agent management decisions and adoption strategy decisions. Here, the report shows you the total number of active users of agents in the organization, segmented by those with M365 Copilot licenses versus those who do not have licenses. What is our level of usage and adoption of agents by those different user cohorts, and the total number of active agents. So we also, in this report, offer line level details on a per user agent and user agent pair level. Great. Something I'm also happy to share is that we are introducing to preview the ability for admins to apply capacity packs, pre-purchased message capacity packs, to billing policies via the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Why is this important? Because for organizations who are employing sort of a flexible billing model, meaning some prepaid, some pay as you go, and you want to allocate that prepaid capacity to your billing policies in M365 Admin Center, you can now do that. So super excited about that coming here real soon. And lastly, I want to share that we're as we continue to invest in billing options in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, we're also investigating and putting active resources and energy towards applying agents towards billing policies. So recognizing that you want to be able to manage your agent consumption costs at the billing policy level. We're happy to share that we're also again, investing in this area and more to come on agent, the application of agents into your billing policies here in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Now, with that, I want to say thanks and pass it over to Amia to share a bit more on cost controls in the Power Platform Admin Center.
Thank you, Samer. Hi, everyone. This is Amia. I'm a product manager focusing on capacity management experience, specifically in Power Platform Admin Center. In the next few minutes, I'll just go over what cost management capabilities are available in Copilot Studio for Copilot Studio agents in Power Platform Admin Center. But before I go there, I just want to basically go over the licensing models which are available. I know Samer already covered that, but again, as you all know, Copilot Studio uses Copilot Credit as the common unit of usage for all its capabilities. We have three licensing models available. The number one is the prepaid pack, which is ideal for mostly predictable uses. Ideally, you pay $200 per month and you get 25,000 messages or 25,000 credits per month. You can purchase directly from MCP Admin Center and stack multiple packs as you need. The second option is pay-as-you-go option. Again, this is ideal for business that want more flexibility and prefer to pay only for the capacity they actually consume. Correct? And the third one, as you all know, is around with per user license or my 365 Copilot license, which is applied per user. This includes, again, full access to build and manage Copilot, Copilots, and any agents which are built on Teams, SharePoint, and Microsoft 365 Copilots are included with no extra cost. We'll focus on the first two pillars or first two sections, which is around the capacity packs and pay-as-you-go, and how do we basically track and manage those in Power Platform Admin Center. Sean, if you can go to the next one. Okay, like once you have enabled pay-as-you-go or you have purchased capacity pack, the next question comes, okay, how do you track your consumption or usage? In Power Platform Admin Center, in Licensing Hub, it provides rich insights. Specifically over here, you can see, okay, how many billing plans you have created if you are using pay-as-you-go. You can see, okay, how many message packs you have purchased, and based on that, how many messages you got available and how much you are using that you can track. You can get a month-over-month view of your consumption, and you can go up to last 12 months. Then, as you all know, basically in Power Platform Admin Center, it relies on environment. Like you can look at, okay, what are your top consuming environments and how those environments are consuming capacity. Now, if you want to drill down into a specific agent and look at, okay, how the specific agent is consuming capacity, then you can go to the environment view, and within each environment, you can drill down to specific agent and look at, okay, how each agent is consuming capacity. Sean, if you can go to the next one. Within Power Platform Admin Center, like any other conjunctive currency, you can also allocate capacity to an individual environment. Again, this is great if you are looking for departmental billing and looking for a solution for budget ownership. So what you can do is you can allocate capacity to an individual environment. And once that capacity is allocated, that capacity becomes isolated. No other environment can draw it from it. You can view how much your capacity you have assigned to an individual environment and how much capacity being consumed for that environment. And if you need, you can rebalance that. If you need to shift extra capacity temporarily or draw capacity from tenant level pool, you can obviously do that. This is supported like any other conjunctive currency, what we support in Power Platform Admin Center. This setup is especially useful for organizations who are looking for chargeback model and looking for cost accountability. Sean, if you can go to the next one, please. Now, what happens if you have allocated capacity and your agents are consuming far more capacity than needed? Okay? Now, number one, your environment admins and tenant admin will obviously receive notification or email notification when the threshold is met. Your makers won't able to publish agents into an environment if that environment is already in overage, and obviously the agent will stop responding. Then how do you basically address that? We have two options which are available. One is you can do an option of drawing down capacity from the tenant level available pool if there is capacity which is available. Or you can also set a pay as you go, which means basically once your capacity is exhausted, then basically the any usage above that allocated capacity will get billed to pay as you go. So this way you can go with a hybrid model. To start with prepaid, start consuming your capacity, and if you see that okay, there are capacity which is still needed, basically you can go for pay as you go model. Sean, if you can go to the next one. Again, as you all know, pay as you go. Again, like we also support pay as you go billing plan in Power Platform Admin Center. In order to set up pay as you go, you need to create a billing plan, and you can link your billing plan to an environment. And the billing plan need to be linked to an Azure subscription as well. So essentially, you need an owner or contributor access to your Azure subscription. You need a resource group within that Azure subscription, and you need to link your billing plan to that Azure subscription. And you can link one or more environment to that billing plan. Now, any consumption against that environment will now get billed to PayGo, depending on whether you are going with a hybrid approach or you are going with a pure PayGo approach, which means suppose you have an environment A, which is linked to a billing plan A. Now, any consumption within that environment will get billed to the Azure subscription linked to that billing plan. When it comes to cost management, you can view the details of your spending in Azure Cost Management. You can set up alerts over there. Now, if you want to go into the details of okay, how a specific agent is, how much is being consumed by a specific agent against a billing plan, you can obviously view that in Power Platform Admin Center. Okay, go back, Sean. I think we missed one. Go back. Yeah. So far, what we have seen that allocation of capacity and billing plan is managed at the environment level. Now, what if basically we have multiple agents which are deployed in a single environment? Now, one of the requests which you are getting is, okay, how do we control cost for agents? If an agent, specific agent is consuming far more capacity. We have just rolled out a new feature which is agent level limit. As part of that, we are enabling we have just rolled out a new page, as you can see in the background. So what this page does is basically it lists down all the custom engine agents which are deployed in different environment in the tenant. It shows okay what limit has been set up against those agents, what is the billable consumption unit or billable credit for those agents, what are non-billable consumption for those agents, and whether this agent is reaching the threshold or above threshold. Okay. Now from here, as an admin, you can go and set up your monthly consumption limit. Now the consumption limit depends on the two things, whether the specific environment is set for prepaid or set for PayGo. If it is set for prepaid, then obviously the limit goes maximum to the environment limit. If it is PayGo, then you can define whatever limit you want and basically have. Once the limit has been set up, you have two guardrails which are in place. Either you can go for hard enforcement, which means that it's auto disable the agent once the limit is hit, or you can just go for a soft notification in terms of basically you want to just subscribe to email notification to see if an agent has reached that specific limit or not. Now, so what this will help, this specific agent level control will help you stay on budget, prevent any surprise overage for a specific agent, and also you can basically have more accountability around that. Sean, if you can go to the estimator one. Okay, we spoke about tracking consumption. We spoke about how to basically manage your capacity. The next question comes, okay, what are the tools available for estimating or forecasting agent usage? We rolled out a new tool designed specifically to bring more clarity and confidence to agent cost planning process. We call it Copilot Studio Agent Usage Estimator. What this does is basically this helps you in forecasting your agent's monthly consumption or credit consumption. This gives a clear picture of how your agents are configured, or based on your agents configurations, how this is going to impact your overall credit consumption. You can choose different licensing options, different agent types, like whether these agents are employee facing or customer partner facing, and what features these agents are going to use to respond to end users. Based on your selections of different options, this estimator will provide you expected credit consumption, giving you a monthly estimate for a specific agent. Just FYI, this is not a planning or a pricing calculator. It just provide, or it does not guarantee the final cost, but it helps you predicting what is your monthly expenses going to be based on the type of agent which you are planning to deploy. Go to the next one, Sean. You can access this estimator directly from Power Platform Admin Center. You can access from Copilot Studio homepage. You can also access this one from the billing page, billing page marketing site. And very soon it will be available from the Copilot Studio Azure pricing page. Sean, if you want to go to the next one. Again, like in summary, when it comes to cost management, admins will now have powerful tools to manage Copilot Studio credit consumption via Power Platform Admin Center, be it tracking or be it managing. You can track your prepaid, you can track your pay-go consumption, you can monitor your usage in real time and set specific agent-specific limit or environment-specific limit for your agents. Over to you, Zohar.
All right, thank you, Amia. So we looked at this model, so I'm kind of wrapping up and switching gears. We talked about management of costs. We started with security and governance and went into details of the controls and how you can actually today bootstrap your enterprise with a green zone, letting employees start building and experimenting with the new technology. Everybody should be able to go to copilotstudio.com and start building their agents in a personal dev environment with all the controls that you put in place. And that would allow you to start learning how your employees are adopting this technology. What are they building from a personal agent perspective? Which agents do they want to promote to a team or enterprise-wide? And the last thing I want to close with is this pillar we call trust and verify, or measure and report. So I touched earlier when we talked about the Power Platform Admin Center that there's a new command center for agents where this is the Copilot hub, or the page inside the Power Platform Admin Center that allows you to easily discover what is new, easily understand how to use it, easily set up the settings, to ensure that the guardrails are put in place. So it gives you a great single pane of glass of all the controls that you need in order to start the journey with agents in your environment. And we know it's a lot. Like, there's a lot of things to think about. We joke that sometimes to be an admin of agents or admin of Power Platform, you need a PhD in administration of the Power Platform. So we have built a agentic experience inside the Power Platform Admin Center that actually helps you by scanning your environment, your individual environment, and giving you recommendations of what are the actions that you can, as an IT, take in order to improve specific things. There's a list of today recommendations that are related to managing apps and managing flows, and now we're introducing more and more recommendations that are around managing agents. So things like agents that are that have lost their owner, and a simple set of steps to assign them a new owner, or agents that, another recommendation coming is agents that have been built by guests in your enterprise. So this is not, full-time employees, but people that are showing up in your Entra as guests in the company, just for awareness. And we will inject more and more recommendations. These would be things that run in the background. So agents, admin agents that scan your system, gives you recommendations on security, gives you recommendations on operations, and give you recommendations on what controls you should enable. And with that, I think that's our last slide for today. Sean, I'm going to hand over back to you to open up questions and answers.
Awesome, fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm seeing a lot of communication going back and forth in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for asking questions. We've got about 9 minutes left and a panel of experts on here. So if you have any questions that our Kenbot in the chat has not addressed, we'd be happy to take those in. Let's see if anything has not been addressed yet. Oh, Amia, you already got to that. Now, as you were seeing a whole bunch of information being presented today, I did want to remind everybody that we have a whole host of assets. We'll be dropping links and AKAs in for everybody to go and read and review. And then also for those that enjoy a more audible experience, we also have the Low Code Approach podcast that Ken, myself, and a few others are on, where we talk about security and governance of agents and Power Platform. Highly recommend that everybody checks that out. Let's see if there's anything else that's coming in there. I do see one question. I'm not sure, Amia, if this has been addressed, but is it possible to set spending or usage limits on environments?
You can set up a limit per environment by allocating capacity and disabling the feature or feature means from tenant pool, and also by not enabling paygo. That way, basically, you limit your capacity per an environment as long as that environment is using prepaid. Now, if it is using paygo, today we don't have a limit on an environment. But having said that, that's something is in our roadmap to see how we can basically have a limit for environment if that environment is set to be using pay as you go.
Awesome. Thank you, Amia. I appreciate that. Another licensing question. Can you unbundle the Copilot Studio license from the M365 license? That's to Amia.
I have to get back on that. I don't know like we can do that, but I can get back on thread.
Excellent. And then let's see if there's another one. This might be a deeper question, and we probably have to follow up with this, but what's the best way to handle lifecycle management regarding agents, specifically when an agent is deployed but needs improvement? And how does environments come into this? I'm assuming this is application lifecycle management pipelines, and also how we want to put the checks and balances for review during that pipeline management. I'll pass that over to, well, if we want to prove that he's alive, Ken Auguillard, if he wants to join and answer that question.
Sean has many jokes today, many jokes. Pipelines is a great way to address this. And I have been answering questions in the chat. We're making significant advancements inside of pipelines. I would highly encourage you all to take a moment, read some of the pipeline documentation, and see how you can best adopt pipelines to fit your needs within your own organization. Sounded like a bot answer right there, Sean.
That's it. We connected some really good knowledge sources there. Thank you, Ken Bot. I appreciate that. Yes, I've seen lots of requests for links to the recording. I believe our team will have that ready for everybody, so they'll be able to rewatch this and share with other members of their organization if needed. Let's keep scrolling down here. Amia, a question for you. To use Copilot with Power Automate, what type of license do I need?
To use Copilot within Power Automate, you can go with
Yes.
the Nessus Pack, or you can also go with, you can essentially right now you can go with the Nessus Pack or pay as you go.
All right.
Very soon it will be supported using NSPAC Copilot license. I need to basically check with the concerned team when that is getting enabled.
Yeah, I think I would augment that by saying that today agents built in Copilot Studio, you could use agent flows, and these are pretty much flows behind the scenes that are taking advantage of the license you have for Copilot or Copilot Studio. This is different than you building a Cloud Flow or a Power Automate standalone, and that standalone flow would require you to have a Power Automate license. In other words, if you are building a flow inside your agents using agent flows, you just need the Copilot Studio license.
Awesome. And I think we've got time for one more question. I actually like this one a lot. Actually, I like all of them. But hey, is it possible to dynamically set knowledge sources based on environments?
That's a
Ken?
great piece of
Zohar?
feedback.
Yeah.
Not today. So today, you build an agent, you publish the agent knows its manifest. That includes the knowledge sources. They're set up in design time, so not in runtime. When you move to a different environment or when you deploy the agent to a different environment, it actually takes the knowledge sources that are defined in the manifest with it. So it's not, there's no dynamic mode that I'm aware of. So it's great feedback. We could take a look at that.
Let me add on to Zohar's answer. So, although you can't dynamically control it, what you are allocated, what you can do within the data policies is also define which knowledge sources are or are not allowed within the platform. That is something that you can do today.
+1 to that. Thank you, Ken. Lydia also dropped a list of prior episodes in this series if you want to increase your knowledge about understanding agents from left to right. Really appreciate the opportunity, Lydia. You've got everybody's names on here, so feel free to reach out to us. More than happy to help you understand agents further. And thank you, everyone, for joining us in this session. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.